Hello all, welcome to your Friday morning, early morning intuitive guidance. Running late because it was a massive thunderstorm going on and it was just nice staying snuggled in bed while it raged outside. So, a few minutes late today. Good morning, Abigail, you're the first one here, glad you're here. And we'll see who else pops on. There's Carolyn, good morning, glad you're here, welcome. I haven't even looked up our card for today, nor read it ahead of time to kind of get a sense of what I want to say. Good morning, Peggy. Good morning, Linda. Looks like there's one more of you on here who hasn't rolled yet. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Let me find our card here. So, as is often typical, when we have a card from a different deck, we end up with, good morning Cindy, welcome. We end up with a series of them in a row from that same deck. So we are again in the Wild Harmonic deck. Good morning Joe Neal, welcome, welcome. So yeah, for those of you who are just popping on, I decided to sleep in today. Good morning Janine, welcome, because we have a thunderstorm going on and I thought, just nice snuggling here, and so I didn't haul my sorry butt out of bed at the usual time. But here we are. Things happen anyway, don't they? So, I'm interested to see what this card is. Like I said, I haven't read it ahead of time. So we're just going to punt today and see what we get. Wild Harmonic deck, Gabrielle J. Maryhugh. And our card for today. Let's take some breaths first, shall we? Good morning, Angie. Glad you're here. Nice deep breath in through the nose. Out through the mouth. And that happens. Usually it's Cindy who's checking in on me. Are you okay? Yes, just running a few minutes late because I'm trying to be less rigid. Here we go. Yay. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. One more time, drawing in even more deeply. In through the nose. And out. Good morning, Beth. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome. So let's see what this card has to tell us. It's a little ominous to first look at, but know that always in the things that we go, there's usually something very interesting. I figured you were, yes. Spirit of Shadow, Star-Crossed. That is our card for today. Spirit of Shadow, Star-Crossed. Let's see what it has to tell us. As the spirit of creativity falls into denial, it creates shadow synchronicity. So good morning, Mel. Glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. So the whole gist behind the shadow cards, of which Spirit of Shadow would be one of them, is that there's aspects of ourselves that we either consciously choose to shove away because we don't find them acceptable, or subconsciously they get shoved away because of societal things, nice girls don't get mad, that kind of stuff. Let's call it crap. It's crap. Gets shoved to the background and is still operating. Again, remember, 95% of your consciousness is subconscious. That's a whole lot of power that's typically being used not in your highest and best good when it's subconscious. We need to see what's there, figure it out, and make the changes that we want to see. So, Spirit of Shadow, let's see, for those who this resonates, that your creativity, your spirit of creativity has fallen into denial. I was working with a young man recently who is an artist by soul and spirit and repairs equipment as a job. Kind of a little bit of a disconnect there. And I'm not saying he has to dump his job, but we certainly want to make his job subservient to his heart and soul work, which is to be a creative. So we'll see how that plays out, right? Here's the meditation. Negative reinforcement is the name of this game. Being a self-fulfilling prophet is a feeling of power, and using the momentum of loss to do so is both addictive and self-perpetuating. A lesson in failure is one thing, But a perspective of impossibility is the easy, yet incredibly difficult, way out. Each time I fail, I am inclined to speak out and say, see, I told you I wasn't valid. Good morning, Dawnine. Glad you're here. This speaking out against myself, while self-defeating, is a feeling of certainty that I long for in this world so uncertain. And there's our uncertainty again, right? And as Tony Robbins says, those people who are heavily invested in having certainty in their life are handicapping themselves greatly. Those who can embrace uncertainty and even seek uncertainty are the ones who are going to be the most successful. This makes it attractive to create new failure in order to feel even more certain. So basically that would be you put on the misguided cloak of I'm a failure, and you live down to that over and over and over and over again, right? What were you told as a kid? Well, girls can't do this, or you're not smart enough for that, or you're not pretty enough for that. All this bullshit, right? So, and there's a certainty in that is addictive, that is seductive. And we need to, again, be willing to embrace the uncertainty. So, first thing I want to explain is negative reinforcement, because everybody gets it wrong. So if you take nothing away from today, let's at least grab onto that piece, okay? Negative reinforcement is not the same thing as punishment. They are two different things. Negative reinforcement is when you take something away that then increases behavior. Punishment is you apply something negative that decreases behavior. So let me give you some examples. Negative reinforcement. If I'm yelling at you and I stop yelling, you're likely to increase whatever behavior you were doing at the point where I stopped yelling, because I removed a negative. If I'm pinching you and I stop pinching you because you told me stop it, it reinforces you using the word stop it over and over and over again because it was successful. So it increases behavior. We remove a negative and behavior increases. Punishment, on the other hand, is I apply that negative. I slap you so you stop crying. I pinch you so you move. And it gets you to not be standing your ground, which is what you want to do. That's the positive. But you scurry away. So negative reinforcement is removing a negative and behavior increases. Punishment is applying a negative and behavior decreases. Hopefully you can hang on to that difference, because I hear negative reinforcement being used all the time inappropriately. Not the same thing as punishment, okay? There, that's my psychology lesson for today. Now let's move on to the grist of this thing, which is we increase our negative view of ourselves in order to have certainty. So when and there's a secondary gain to that also. If we go around saying, see, I told you I was a piece of shit, do people expect a whole lot of you then? No. There's a secondary gain in there of people don't expect much. So to change that, which we definitely want to change that, but you have to be willing to incur some losses, if you want to call them that. I'm going to hazard a guess that one of the primary reasons negative behavior continues is there are secondary gains that we haven't addressed. So, negative behavior, binge eating at midnight. Secondary gain, it stuffs feelings. Negative behavior, doing drugs. Secondary gain, it removes you from life. Negative behavior, running in a gang. Secondary gain, a sense of belonging. We have to address those things or that behavior is never going to go away. So, the shadow, the stuff we've shoved into the darkness, let's go rummaging around in the darkness a little bit and bring some of that stuff forward and take a look at it. So, what are those, and I'm going to go right back to the top here. As the spirit of creativity falls into denial, it creates shadow synchronicity. So, what aspects of your big, bold, beautiful self have you shoved in the corner? Yes, shadow work, absolutely shadow work. When was it not okay to be? So, oftentimes for girls in school, it wasn't okay to be bright in my era. Hopefully now some of that's changing. But it wasn't okay to be the smartest kid in the class. So you dumb yourself down. Yes. Absolutely, Carolyn. So talking to people about, well, how you would talk to them is going to depend on who they are. But making the point that, it seems like you're comfortable in this negativity because it provides you a sense of certainty. You know everybody's out to get you. You know that the world's going to hell in a handbasket. And not being comfortable with the uncertainty of maybe the world's an okay place. Maybe there are people out there who are here to do good and live to their highest selves. Maybe. That maybe is uncomfortable. What can I do to help you embrace the maybe of positivity and step away from the certainty, perceived certainty, because it ain't real either, right? It's all illusion. The perceived certainty of the negativity. Oftentimes, people who dwell in negativity will say something akin to, well, then I'm not setting myself up to be disappointed. If I expect people to be disappointing, then I'm not surprised. What a shitty way to live. Right? On the other hand, if I have hopes for people, good morning, Mary, if I assume the best of people, most people are going to rise to the occasion. Yes, Carolyn, absolutely. There will be a handful of people who disappoint me. Mary Kay Ash used to say, people will disappoint you. Numbers never lie. Her gist being, you still want to engage with people. You still want to be a part of people, but you can look for certainty in other places. Yes, exactly. Looking at the world through shit-colored glasses. Yes. And again, there's that weird thing of, then I won't be disappointed. If I believe everybody's going to treat me poorly, and it happens, I won't be disappointed. Think about that, though. You're calling it to you. You're creating more circumstances where people are going to treat you poorly because you have those shit-colored glasses on. Everything's out there for you to discover. Everything is out there for you to discover. The good, the bad, the ugly. If you're wearing ugly glasses, you're going to see ugly things. They can be right beside each other, the good and the bad. And because you have your bad glasses on, that's what you're going to see. If Mrs. Positivity is standing next to you, she's going to focus on the good stuff. And again, I understand that our brains have been wired way back when to pick out the anomalies, to pick out the negative, to pick out that kind of stuff, because it had survival value way back when. We don't need that kind of survival value. We are not being stalked every day by the saber-toothed tiger, right? Most of us live in relative safety. But our brains haven't changed that much. So we have to consciously use that cortex to override the brainstem that's saying, danger, 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 with the cortex that says, no, that's not a threat. I see it, I evaluate it, it's not a threat. Not going to waste my time and energy on it. The difference also between, yes, exactly. I have a green car. I now see green cars everywhere. The filter has changed. Change your filter by choice. I want you looking for it. Kind of like Mr. Rogers' mom told him when he was a kid and would be upset. Make sure you pay attention to the people who are the helpers. Whenever there's a catastrophe, look for the helpers. They're there. You'll find them. So you can focus on, ain't it terrible, horrible, awful that this thing happened, a flood, whatever. Or you can focus on, look at all these people helping. How cool is that? You get to decide where you focus your precious attention. I'm going to suggest to you that you focus it on the positive stuff. And I'm going to suggest to you that you mine the shadow stuff. Dig it out. Look at it. A lot of it you're going to find, paradoxically, is the positive. It's in there, and it's for instance, if one of the things you've stuffed back is your big, bold, beautiful, loud, creative self, because that wasn't acceptable in your church, in your school, in your home, wherever, as a kid, dig that back out. Resurrect that big, bold, beautiful, loud, creative self. Practice with it. Are you going to bring it out full bore to begin with? No, but do a little something, something with it. So maybe it's, I've got this I was watching gardening videos again last night, and I love this one guy. I can't remember what his name is, but he dresses very old-fashioned. He's got this huge Victorian house. He's an artist by trade. Whatever. Exactly. One of the things about people is hurt people hurt people. So if we can see past their crappy behavior to the humanity of them, they've been wounded. That's why they're wounding. And that doesn't mean you accept the behavior. Good morning, Cheryl. Glad you're here. Welcome. That doesn't mean you accept the behavior, but you may respond to it differently. So I'm going to pull out, and one of you actually contacted me asking for the reference for Sharon Ellison's book, Taking the War Out of Our Words. So instead of responding with, you jerk, what the heck's wrong with you? Why did you do that? Blah, 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 which creates conflict. You can respond with, hey, wait a minute, that's unacceptable to me. I'm not willing to put up with that. I'd like you to apologize. Stating your piece. Will they necessarily apologize? Maybe not. But you now have responded differently. You're not giving them the same old response. You might find that they change as a result of that interaction. Don't count on it. That's okay. It doesn't matter. But again, it's that expecting the best of people. You know, I'm not okay with this. This is you can do better than this. I know you can. You're a better person than this. Let it go. Walk away. So, I want to read this again because there's so much here. So much here. Negative reinforcement is the name of this game. Being a self-fulfilling prophet is a feeling of power, even if it's all the negative stuff that you're prophesying, okay? And using the momentum of loss to do so is both addictive and self-perpetuating. How many of you play scenarios in your head? And how many of those scenarios tend to be crappy stuff? People putting you down, things not going well, not getting your way, blah, blah, blah. We also sometimes have the opposite end of the continuum where we're the hero, right? Which is cool too. But those scenarios we play out in our head are such a waste of energy. And again, they do have that addictive quality to them of playing the negative scenario, being certain that's what's going to happen, preparing for that happening. And in preparing for that happening, how's the approach? Already setting up the outcome we say we don't want. We say we don't want. All right, let me keep going here. A lesson in failure is one thing, but a perspective of impossibility is the easy yet incredibly difficult way out. Each time I fail, I am inclined to speak out and say, see, I told you I was not valid, as opposed to saying, well, that didn't work. What could I tweak to make this different so that it's more likely to work? Thomas Edison was a classic of this. I have found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. Is he going to try 10,001? You betcha he is. It's a whole different mindset, and it leads down a whole different life path with a whole different end result. Your choice. This speaking out against myself while self-defeating is a feeling of certainty that I long for in this world so uncertain. This makes it attractive to create new failure in order to feel even more certain. Yes, clear, cancel, delete. Stop thinking like that. I am done with this. Aha, you don't have to control your thoughts. You just have to stop letting them control you. Yes, yes, yes. So when the thought rolls through your head, sometimes it's helpful to say it out loud. So let's say the thought that goes through is, I can't do this. If I say it out loud, I can't do this. Really? I can't? Why can't I? This isn't that hard. I can do this. This will take me 5 minutes at the most. Let's time myself and see. How long does that? 3.4 minutes. That was not a big hairy deal. Why did I think I couldn't do that? Analyze it. Put it out there. Bring it to conscious awareness. That's one of the reasons I love journaling, because as you're writing along furiously, oftentimes some of this crap will blurp out and you'll go, where did that come from? Then you can examine it and you can do something with it, okay? So, what I'd like you to frame up for today, if you're willing, is each time you fail, not if you fail, we all fail. Each time you fail, view it as an opportunity to learn, view it as a course correction so that the next time you're more likely to be successful, whatever successful is. If it takes you 10 times to get to your definition of success, fabulous. Good morning, Barb. Glad you're here. If it takes you 75 times, fabulous. If it takes you 10,000 times, like Thomas Edison, fabulous. Divine unfolding is what it is. So, that is our card for today. Very powerful card, right? Spirit of Shadow, Star-Crossed. Let's start looking at this stuff. Where are we selling ourselves a bill of goods? Where are we selling ourselves down the river? How many more analogies can I come up with, right? So, have an awesome Friday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are, including kindly and lovingly calling yourself out on your shadow stuff. Bye-bye.